Hi guys. So in this segment, in this video, we're going to show webbing placement. First of all, make sure that you buy the proper webbing. I do not have the black webbing, the black stripe webbing, because it's used for backs and it's not as tight. I don't even know why anybody would use it for a back when they could use the seat. The seat is the better of the two. It's a tighter weave. That's not to say it doesn't sag. It's actually designed to sag, believe it or not. Now, I have a good example up here of something a little different. I have a nylon webbing, which this is an old chair, and it hasn't stretched one bit, which is a bad thing, believe it or not. So not only do they have the nylon webbing, they also have supports to hold it in place. It was very important that it doesn't sag, but traditionally, furniture, upholstered seats, and even seats with cushions that have springs, like this one, do sag. And the reason it's good is because the pressure of the springs, a lot of pressure once you tie these springs, you guys. I mean, really a tremendous amount of pressure. So over time, the pressure has to go somewhere. So you'd rather over time have it go to the bottom of the chair. You've seen things. I have another sofa in the shop now that I have to repair the bottom. But what happens is, you start tight like this over the years. It takes a while for this to happen. This is what happens. It starts to sag, starts to sag. No, so let me try to give you a timeline, right? So this is new. This is about 5 years. It's about 10 years. It's about 20 years. 25 years, 30 years, and then sometimes one of the webbings will let go after about 30 years. I can guarantee you this seat here, if you don't take care of the problem right now, the springs will start coming out the top. That's the problem. And they start getting wobbly on the top. All that nice hand tying that goes on the top, it will be damaged. So you want to make sure that, so an easier repair later on for the consumer is fixing something from the bottom, and a lot of times we can fix something from the bottom and get it to where it began. So that said, I just want to show you now, they have, I think this is very sparsely webbed, honestly. They only have the webbing where the springs are. Sometimes that's not a great idea. Sometimes what you have to do is go by the chair itself. So when you're setting something up, how do you determine that? So when you're looking at it, first of all, rule of thumb is when you begin, you always want to start from the back rail. Okay, the back rail is usually traditionally the strongest rail because it's the shortest rail. You know, in theory, it's stronger because it's shorter lengthwise than the front or the sides. So you always want to start at the back. So what I do is I take a piece of webbing. I do not measure. Don't try to measure, work this out. Use your eye to do this. So I see 3. If you're doing 3, it's easy. Go in the middle and start, and I'll show you that in a minute. But if you're doing 4, you're going to be going off one leg. And I think that is what I would do in this. Okay? So I just want to show you how I would start. I think I will do a little stapling for you. This is more of a showing how to, it's not really a full video on webbing, so I'm not going to do a full video, but I just want to show you how I go about placement. So the first one is like so. I'm just going to pin that up there, and I evenly space it from there across the back, right? Now I want you to notice one thing, because a lot of people get caught up with this. The front being longer, right, than this, you're going to have a different placement on the front. You have to pay attention to that. So back here, it looks like it's going to be about 1.5 inches separating. In here, it looks like it's going to be about maybe 2 inches or 2.5 inches separating the two webbings, okay? I'm not going to take my tape measure out and measure this. This is done by eye. At least this is how I do it. So I just quickly, what you do is, another thing I'll just quickly show you that I would staple this halfway on that wood rail, leaving a wood section open for your other things that you need, like your outsides and your cambric. And I would staple that. You can staple first and then fold, or you can fold and staple, but make sure you get ample staples, probably about 9 staples. Okay, and then you use your webbing stretcher, staple, cut it about 1 inch off, pull it back, and staple more. But I do want to show you, once you do that, just cut these. I can use these for something else. It doesn't really matter which side you start on, because we have 2 already going here. We'll start here. And then what you want to do is check to see. Now, as it turns out on the sides, the side rail is smaller than the back rail because of these legs, okay? So it looks like 3 will work out good. So what you do with 3 is you always start in the middle, and then you weave, alternate the weave, over, under, all the way across. Then you staple this. We use a webbing stretcher and then staple, cut it 1 inch, and then your next one, let's just get this up here. Make sure you alternate the next one. You start over, and people say, does it matter how you start? No, I never thought it mattered. Over or under, it doesn't really matter. And then this one here, under, over, and so on. Okay, and you need 3 on that one, so you would start in the middle like I did. So that's basically it. There are other uses for webbing. Sometimes I use webbing as a clamp. I might tie it all the way around like an old Victorian sofa that really is difficult to get any bar clamps on. Sometimes I'll glue it up and then use this to stretch it over it. I'll staple along one leg, like not a finished leg, or a rail somewhere, and really get it tight that way. It really actually works good that way with the webbing stretcher. So other uses for outsides. Sometimes we support outsides, especially round outsides with the webbing. So that's at least 3. And I think that will do it. So that's webbing and webbing placement and webbing the bottom of chairs. We'll see you next time.